Do you want to create AI music videos to get a lot of views? AI has opened the door for so many creatives that don't have a formal background or training in filmmaking, yours truly being one of them. But I'm going to share with you my entire thought process on how I created my first 3 viral AI music videos. We're going to be talking about the thought process, the tools, the editing, the whole 9 yards. I'm not leaving anything out. Let's get right to it. So the next part of the process is to actually figure out the overall look for your film or style. So what do I mean by that? That is going to be the aesthetic. So for example, you know it's going to be animated, but do you want it to be realistic? Do you want it to be rotoscope animation? Do you want it to be anime? And if you want it to be anime, what kind of anime do you want it to be? Because there are a lot of different animes out there. Do you want it to be film noir? Do you want it to be black and white? So film noir is actually a type of black and white film that's very dark and shadowy and things like that. So figure that out. And one of the best ways to figure that out is to actually go online and research some of these styles. I'm going to show you some examples. So for example, in the Michael Jackson Heaven Can Wait video, I decided to go with what's called rotoscope animation. Now, how did I decide upon that? I know I wanted to be like a graphic novel type, but I wanted to be like kind of a realistic animation. So I just went on the internet and I looked at different types of animation styles and found out that there was a movie that did really well called Waltz with Bashir, which was stylized realism or rotoscope animation. So as you can see right here in my prompt, I put graphic style Waltz with, let me make this smaller, Bashir, stylized realism, simplified lines, graphic novel style, muted color palette, dominated by yellows and browns, rotoscope animation. So therefore, every time I created an image, it was going to be in that style. So as you can see here, here's all the images that I went through to get just the right look. So if you look at some of these images, this is what I would call a realistic style. If you look at these ladies, they look real. And if this is the look that you want, that's what you're going to have to put into your prompts. And let me show you another type of style that I particularly used in a Depeche Mode video that I did. So if we look at these images from It's No Good, a song by Depeche Mode, you'll notice that they are very dark. And that's kind of what I'd like to call a film noir. So what I did was I made it realistic, but with a film noir look. Okay, so as you can see from these images, it has a very dark yet realistic look. Now, if I look at something like Grand Theft Auto, this was actually more like a comic book type of illustration if we look at this image right here. All right, so deciding on the look that you want is very important. And like I said, there's tons of resources on the internet that can help you decide on what that look is. And if you have a hard time finding that, just find a movie that you really like the color grading to, or the style in which it was shot, and then you're going to specify that in your image prompts, whichever image generation model or software that you're using. All right, so now that we're done with all of the preliminary stuff, let's get into the more exciting things, the tools and actually how to build your AI music video. Now, I'm going to say this. I pay for a lot of the tools that I use, but you don't necessarily have to. I do recommend that when it comes to the image generators or the image to video generators, it probably is in your best interest to pay for those, because to get just the right look with the right animation and the right lighting and all of that, you're probably going to have to run your prompts several times to get the right look. If you're going with the very first thing that pops out, it might not be such a great suggestion for making a high quality video. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But I do pay for the GPT models with the exception of Meta AI which is right here, totally free. I recommend checking it out because look, ChatGPT is not the only player on earth, and I found that each LLM or language learning model has their own strengths. So here we are in Google Gemini Advanced, and I typed in, I need a prompt for a high-end model in a fashion show set in the background of the Burning Man event. I would like the fashion to be truly unique, specializing in leather, fashion, unique patterns, fabric choices, and colors. The model should be a full body image. So note a few things that I specifically put out here. I put the location or the event, which is the Burning Man event. I said that I want unique patterns and fabric choices, so it doesn't put together what's normally put together, you know, like they might put all leather together or all silk together. This way it's saying, okay, let me see if I can blend in some leather with the silk, or et cetera, et cetera. And that the model should be a full body image, because usually if you want a full body image in your image generator, you need to specify that, or you can even specify the type of shoes that they have so that the model knows when it's creating the prompt that it has to show the feet. Makes sense, right? All right, so here we go. Here's a prompt you can use, designed to generate a high-end model in a unique fashion. So here it is, full body shot. It gave me everything. Pretty good prompt. All right, 8K AR 230. So you can actually, change the aspect ratio. I'm going to show you that in Mid-Journey. So I usually copy it, but I delete that later. All right, and then it gave me actually another one. And then what I really like is it explained all of the components to me. Full body shot, high fashion model, runway, sets unique stage, unique avant-garde leather fashion, intricate patterns, fabric choice 1, fabric choice 2. So it gave me some examples. I can do metallic mesh, upcycled silk, hand-painted canvas. So I really like this. And then if you don't like the prompt that it comes out with, you can actually type in, please rewrite with a different location. Please rewrite with a different type of style, but keep the same aesthetic, something like that. So that's one thing I like about the GPT models, that help you design the prompts for your image generators. So if we go to ChatGPT, what's really cool about ChatGPT is they actually have a GPT plugin that works for creating image to video prompts and just image prompts. So here you see there's a Mid-Journey prompt and a Kling 1.6 image to video prompt helper. And the way that you find this is you can click on Explore GPTs, and then you just simply type in, Mid-Journey. And it'll search and search and search, and then it'll find all of the different GPT models that will help you create prompts for Mid-Journey. Or you can type in there you go. Mid-Journey version 6.1 photorealistic image prompts, prompt generator, Mid-Journey prompter. And you can do the same thing for Kling. You can do the same thing for Flux AI. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences between the Flux image generator and the Mid-Journey, because I think each of them has their own strengths. So here you see Kling 1.6 image to video prompt helper, prompt creator. There's one for Luma, which I like as well. So here you go. So you can look those up. That's the nice thing about ChatGPT. But even so, when I've used that, it doesn't always come out with the way that I would like it to come out with the prompt. So one thing I will do is, so let's do an example prompt. Let's say, create an image in film noir style set in a vintage home with a couple standing facing one another, silhouette lighting. All right. So I'm going to type that in there, and it's now going to create a prompt for me that I can put in to my Mid-Journey. So there you go. So here we have the prompt right here, right? High contrast, black and white tones, hazy smoke wafting in the air. I'm going to copy all that, but look what I'm going to do after this. I'm actually going to put that into a new chat inside of Gemini, and I'm going to say, improve this prompt by adding camera types and anything else you think would be better. Let's beef up with more cinematic detail and control. Here's an improved version shot on a vintage Arriflex 35. So pretty cool. It gave me the type of the camera, and then it told me what the camera actually does. It says the model helps Midjourney understand the desired filmic look. It's a classic camera used during the golden age of Hollywood. It specified the lens, 35 millimeter Cook Speed Panchro lens. And then it even implied the film type. How cool is that? Now check it out. If I take this Midjourney or this Midjourney ChatGPT prompt generator, and I put it into Meta AI, which is free, I say, improve this Midjourney prompt. That's all I'm going to say. Paste it. Boom. So as you can see, Meta AI pushes out a different type of prompt. It's more of an explanation type of prompt. So here's the imagine a cinematic scene, 1940s home, reminiscent, blah, blah, blah. Here's the aesthetic, aspect ratio, to enhance the scene, incorporate subtle grain, and emphasize the couple's facials. All right, so I can actually copy all of that and put it into my image generator, and we're going to practice that and show you the different looks that Midjourney is going to present based on the different prompts. Now, I will say there's now a new language learning model out there. I don't know if it's really that new, but it's called DeepSeek. And when you look at the numbers, this is actually pretty powerful compared to the GPT models that are already, or the LLM models that are already out there. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to copy this, and I'm going to say, improve this prompt. Refine structure, enhance cinematic elements to make it more evocative and visually compelling. The one thing I did not do was say, hey, specify the camera type or the film type or the lighting or things like that. I could have done that. But this is one thing I really like to do, because each GPT model is going to, or LLM, I keep calling it GPT, is going to give you a totally different look. So there you go. That's how you can actually create your prompts for your image generators, text to image, and you can create your prompts for your image to video generators and just follow the same process. Okay, let's go to the different tools that I use next. All right, so now that we've gone through the cheat tools to help you create the prompts for your text to image and image to video generators, I'm going to take you through all of the different software that I use to create the AI music videos. Now, why do I use several different ones? It's because each one has their own strengths. And to be honest with you, sometimes I can't decide which one I really want to stick with. I've already gotten rid of a few, but I'm going to show you the ones that I am currently working with. And we're going to start with Midjourney. So Midjourney is really my go-to because I think it creates a lot of the looks that I want. But I will tell you, when it comes to realistic imagery, I'm really liking the Flux model. And for that, I use CG Dream. Okay, so CG Dream, if I show you my images here, the realism with the Flux model, and I use Pro 1.1, and you can choose between Pro 1.1, Dev, or Fast. The more realistic I want it, the higher the model I'll use. All right, so it does use some more credits, but as you can see, I have a lot of credits. So I do that because I need to generate a lot of different images to get the look I want. So when it comes to realistic images, I do prefer the Flux model. When it comes to something that's a little bit more creative, I tend to go more with Midjourney. Although a lot of times I'll run the same prompt in both image generators and just kind of choose which one I like the best. So as you can see here, this looks pretty real. This is for El Dia de los Muertos, a fashion show that I did, and Midjourney actually pumped out some really good images. Now, when you're working with Midjourney, make sure that you fix the parameters here. The image size, the amount of stylization, the weirdness, and the varieties. The variety is going to be, how different are the produced images going to be. The weirdness is just what it sounds like. The higher the number, the more weird it's going to be. So if you're looking for a really original aesthetic, I would turn the weirdness up. And the stylization is also going to say, okay, how close is it going to stay to your prompt? The lower number, the closer it's going to stay to your prompt. The higher number, the more freedom you're going to give Midjourney to come up with the image. Now, I've gone through the personalized portion of it here, which tends to give me better results for the type of images I like. There's a lot of tutorials on how to personalize your Midjourney images, so I believe that you should take a look at that. And then you have a choice between standard and raw. Raw is just right here, all right? Raw mode places default aesthetic. It can help you create more photorealistic images, cinematic scenes, or cuter characters, right? So you can choose which one you want, but make sure you set those parameters and then enter in your prompts to develop your images. Now, I did say that for more realistic images, I like to use CG Dream, and I do pay for Midjourney, and I do pay for CG Dream. I think I get a lot of credits with CG Dream, and I have never ran out of fast generations with Midjourney in the pay model. But one thing that's really nice about CG Dream is that when you do put in a prompt, so example, here's a prompt right here. If I hit enter, I'm able to enter in a bunch of different filters. So this is really nice. If you're not really sure about the type of look that you want to go with, CG Dream can actually help you with all of these different filters, which I think is really cool. I haven't used any of them yet in any of my productions, but I think I'm going to, because you can choose between the style, all right, pen and ink drawing. So if I choose that one and I go ahead and hit generate, you're going to see that it's going to generate that image in this pink, whatever, this pen and ink style. So that's really a nice feature that allows you to experiment with different looks. Then, of course, if you wanted to do a type of anime, you can also mess around with that as well, because they have so many different types of filters here. You see here, caricature, claymation, fluid illustration, manga cartoon, manga comic. So this is actually really nice way to experiment with different looks. All right, let's see what it came up with. And so this is what the original looked like. And when I added the filter, it came out looking like this. All right. So kind of just made it more of a cartoony type of look instead of looking realistic like in this image, right? So I will say that is a nice feature of CG Dream. There's a lot of other Flux AI models out there, but this has been my favorite. My other one that I really like is RenderNet, but it kind of did the same thing as CG Dream, and I think CG Dream had a little bit more flexibility. All right, so let's move on. So everybody's familiar with Kling. Now, I really like Kling. I find their movements to be extremely fluid and realistic. So depending on whether I want a start or an end scene will determine if I'm going to use Kling 1.6 or Kling 1.5. Now, what's the difference? So Kling 1.5, quite naturally, is an older model. And actually, I need to backstep that. Depending on if I want to have camera control, I will use Kling 1.5 or Kling 1.6. So a nice thing about Kling is you can actually create your prompt and then just have a start scene, all right, and pick 5 or 10 seconds. You can add a motion brush. Standard mode or professional mode will give you a different type of quality. You can pick your time, how many generations, and then your camera movement. Now, if you want to have the scenes blend one into another, then what you would do is you would add an ending frame. So you would click one nice use case of this is, let's just say you're going to try to transition into another scene. So you'd have your initial scene and then use your end frame to start the transition into the next scene. And then for the next scene, you would choose that last image, now make it that first image, and then you can create an ongoing scene with that. That's a really cool trick to do with this. Now, if I don't want to have as much control, but I want to have better quality images, as you can see here, I don't have motion brush anymore and I don't have camera movement, but I still have starting and ending frame. So as you can see here, here's some of the generations that I've done with Kling. So another one that I use is Runway. And I've actually found the image generation, image to video on Kling to be more powerful than Runway. But we're going to need an entirely different tutorial for Runway because there's a lot of different things that you can do. Same thing with Kling. As you can see here, here's one of my generations from Runway. Still pretty good. Not as much movement. But you also have the ability to add camera control to this. Right, so it's a different type of camera control. So with Kling, you're able to draw the path of the camera control or of different elements. So you can have the clouds move one way, you can have the trees move another way. It's an easy way to explain it. Here, you have camera movement that is basically applied to the entire image or the entire video that you're creating. All right. Another one that I use happens to be Luma Labs Dream Machine. Luma Labs Dream Machine, depending on what you're making, is kind of shot in the dark. Sometimes you'll get what you want, sometimes you won't. It hasn't been my main image to video generator. It does produce some nice movements. I think that's one that I used. But it's fairly affordable. And it does a good job. All right, so Luma Labs Dream Machine is another image to video generator that I use. Now, there's a couple others that a lot of people don't really talk about. So right here is Sora. So I do have access to Sora, but unless you pay the astronomically high price, I think of $200 a month, you're not able to use People. So they're already out. So I don't use them. And I also find that Kling is good enough for what I want to do. They are really catching up with Sora. And here's a surprise one that I use, Pika Labs. I have really fallen in love with Pika Labs. If you haven't given Pika Labs a shot, I highly recommend it. I find their movements to be just crazy good. Crazy good. So here's some of the movements with Pika that I've done. So this is for my Michael Jackson video. Look at this movement. So Pika Labs has just been amazingly good, in my opinion. So I would say my top three for image to video generation are going to be Kling AI, Pika Labs, Runway, and then Luma Labs Dream Machine The one last text to image and image to video generator I want to talk about is Kyber. It doesn't get a lot of love. A lot of people don't talk about it, but it's actually a pretty powerful piece of software. They released something called Super Studio. I have so many credits that I've just kept this and they grandfathered me in. But this is actually pretty amazing because you can build out your entire production on their canvas and then add, look at this, whatever kind of generator you want. So if you're saying, hey, you know what, I really like Minimax, I like Moki, I want Kling Standard Video, Runway Video, Luma Video, Image Lab, you can drag these and drop them onto your canvas and then create your workflow. So you can see here, here's all the image generators, Stable Diffusion, Image Upscale, Image Enhancer, video flows. You've got Runway Video, have Kling Standard, Kling Pro, Minimax, Moki, Luma, Video Restyle. So Video Restyle is something that was an original staple of Kyber. And what that is you take an already produced video and then you type in the type of style that you want it converted into. So sometimes I'll actually drop some stuff into Kyber and actually have it restyle. A good use of this is if you have a video of yourself and you want to be in the video, you can upload it into Kyber, into your, drag this, just it's you know, click that, add to canvas, boom, there it is. If I drag the canvas, and what you can do is you can actually create points between all of these. All right, so at one time I had all of my generators going into my collections here, and then you could just restyle down here. You can create your runway video right there. Here's a flux. All right, so you have flux inside of here as well. So Kyber actually is a pretty good deal. So if you're on a budget and you're saying, hey, you know what, I probably only want to pay for one piece of software, Kyber AI might be your best bet. All right, so let's keep going. So remember I said that we are going to take the prompts that were generated inside of these different LLM models and put them into Midjourney and CG Dream and show you the difference in the output. So let's go ahead and do that now. So here is the Midjourney prompt generator. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it into Midjourney. And I kept the settings the same right here. Aesthetics, the weirdness, the stylization, the variety. The only thing I'm going to change is in this prompt, I'm going to take out the version 6 and the aspect ratio since those have already been defined. Let's go landscape. Let's go 16:9. Okay, and hit enter. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let's go here. Let's take out the image prompt right there. All right, so here we go. It's generating. So now let's go over to the one that was improved upon using the new DeepSeek. There we go. Let me put this in here. So this is DeepSeek. And then finally, we're going to go into Google Gemini Advanced. Let me just copy all this. Bam. And put that into here. Aspect ratio. When do I start working? As there should be the format with height. Okay, so right here. There's an aspect ratio. Let's delete that. Let's hit enter. All right, so let's look at our outputs. So right here we have the original one that was created with ChatGPT Midjourney prompt generator. So I said that I wanted film noir style set in a vintage home with a couple standing facing one another, silhouette lighting. I didn't specify it was man, woman, or whatever. I just said a couple. So let's see what it put out. So there's the first generation right there. Here's the second one. Third one, that's really bad. And I said standing facing one another, and they are actually dancing. So that's an ah. All right, so let's go to the improved upon prompt. And this one was from Google Gemini. So as you can see, it actually produced a really nice image right there. Google Gemini, this is one person. Here's another couple, but it looks like two women there, and there's one woman. All right, so it didn't get that. All right, so let's go to the last one. And this is the one that was improved upon using DeepSeek. And I have to say, DeepSeek actually came out with some really, really unique. I like this. This is very unique. Very unique. Yep. I actually feel like DeepSeek actually got it a little more accurately than all of the other prompt generators. I mean, look at this lighting. This is crazy. This is crazy. So give DeepSeek a shot. Now, let's go into, let's copy this one. I'm going to only do one for the sake of saving some of my credits. And we're going to put this into CG Dream. All right, so there we go. Let's take out all the stylized, the AR. All right, so there we go. Looks good. And I want to make sure that I don't have any filters. So I don't have any filters. It's right here. You can see you can do image to image. There's a lot you can do, and that's going to be a whole another tutorial. All right, so I only want to create 16:9. We're going to do one version, and let's generate this. See what it comes out with. So here you can see the power of generating a prompt and then using other LLMs to actually improve on that prompt to create the actual image that you want. Right now, I think this has looked the best for me. I know I haven't tried out the Meta AI. Matter of fact, let me just copy this. Just like that. Let's put this into Midjourney and see what it's able to come out with. All right, so CG Dream is done. Actually pretty good. That's actually a really nice image. I like that. I like that. So as you can see, I actually have two different scenes that I could probably use in the same film. One from Midjourney using this, then using maybe the second image that was created in CG Dream as more of a close-up, or this can be an introduction and then do a pull-out. And let's look at the last one. So actually pretty good. Meta AI did a great job. There's one right there. There's two ladies, there's a guy. All right, so Meta AI actually did a pretty good job, and I have used it quite often, probably more than ChatGPT. So in terms of my favorite LLM models for creating prompts, I would probably say it's been Google Gemini, Meta AI, DeepSeek, and then ChatGPT. I believe the DeepSeek is really going to move up there the more that I use it. But I wanted to show you the difference in the image generation between the Flux model and the Midjourney model. All right, so for the sake of time, I am actually going to just go through a very quick tutorial on editing the video using CapCut if you haven't used it before. I will be creating another tutorial that will go through the entire process because this video would take way too long to go through the entire process today. So I'm inside of CapCut and I'm just going to click on create a new project. And what I do is with all of my images and video that I've generated for a project, I usually keep that in a totally separate folder. So I'm just going to go right here to my editing folder, go to Heaven Can Wait, and here you go. So here's all my footage that I've created for Heaven Can Wait, and I'm just going to copy and bring all of that into CapCut. Now I have 160 items, and one thing I do say that I really like about CapCut is that it is very low on resources. So if you don't have a super powerful computer, I am on an older generation gaming computer, so I have a separate graphics card. So I do have a little bit more computing power. I would recommend CapCut. One thing that I also like that it does automatically, which is very low on resources, is it will automatically create proxies if you have that set up in your settings. Okay, so you would just have to go to your settings here and click on performance and proxy, turn it on to edit smoothly and fast without losing video quality. So what a proxy does is it creates a duplicate of your footage but in a lower resolution so it doesn't eat up so many resources. So for example, 4K, if you're editing with 4K, you're going to find that your stuff is going to lag a lot and it's just going to get very frustrating. Inside of Adobe Premiere Pro, you can set it up to handle or make proxies automatically, but what happens then is it will open up the media encoder inside of Adobe Premiere, or actually that's a totally separate program, and then that actually uses even more resources because now you have Adobe Premiere and media encoder open at the same time. So as you can see here, it's creating all of these proxies or duplicates of the footage that I've uploaded into CapCut, and it's done it while I'm actually recording this video, so it doesn't take a lot of resources. So quite naturally, the first thing you're going to want to do is to find your music track, and you're going to want to just import that into your footage. So let's see if I can find MP3. So I don't have to go through 160 pieces of footage. Okay, so this is there it is. All right, so there's my Heaven Can Wait. So to click it, put it into the timeline. I'm going to do that with my fingers, extend it just so I can see it a little bit better. As you can see here, it doesn't start till right about here, so I'm actually going to click and drag this and move it over. A couple tips. One thing I like to do is sometimes turn off auto snapping or main track magnet, because I like to move clips around. I don't want them to always be automatically falling in place. Sometimes I'll have a clip overlaid over another and my main track needs to be empty, but if you have magnet on, it's actually going to pull those tracks together and kind of totally mess you up. So there you go. I've got the music, and then I decide, okay, what do I want to be my leading scene in this video? Now for me, it was the house with the angel. Go here. So here's my intro right here. click plus, and then you pretty much just drag and drop all of your footage into the timeline as you would like it to be seen. Now, another tip that you can do is I like to add beats to the audio. I usually add 2 beats because then you can make your transitions on the beat. Now, another tip is to actually make your transitions or scene changes off of the beat, because people are going to be expecting you to make it on the beat, which is these little markers right here. But if you just cut it short and maybe make a change in the middle of the beat, that actually gives a really kind of unexpected scene change, and I think it makes your video a little more interesting, if that makes sense. So, I can just click and drag, or just add plus. If I don't want to add the whole video, I can just go over it with my cursor and actually drag the edges to see, okay, exactly where do I want it to start. All right, so hit the home button, go back. All right, so that's a thumbnail. That's not an actual image, but you kind of get the gist. So I will put up another video on how to actually edit your videos inside of CapCut, but I'd be really interested on your feedback, if this was helpful. If you have any questions about the softwares that I use or my methods, please leave that in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful and informative, please subscribe to the channel, like, and share it. I really enjoyed making this. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.